Hi everyone, this is for my overachievers and my givers. I'd like us to have an honest conversation about what it means to rest. I want us to explore the possibility of rest as a sacred intentional practice rather than something that's earned and consumed. For example, we might spend money on vacations because we earned it, have a drink to downregulate our nerves, or treat ourselves to a spa day. None of these things are inherently wrong or bad, but they perpetuate the idea that rest requires an investment that we have to earn. I'm curious, can any of you think of an example of someone in your life who modeled how to rest as a sacred daily practice where we tune in rather than tune out, or we let go into just being present rather than collapsing into dissociation? I ask this question because I'm wondering whether any of you can imagine what rest actually could look like outside of the consumption and tuning out model I discussed earlier. And if you're coming up blank, I am not surprised. That is why I want to have this conversation. Hi, my name is Leah Smith. I'm a somatic therapist, and I create sacred spaces of rest, dreaming, and renewal for therapists, healers, and seekers. Through somatic healing, collective dreaming, and nature-based practices, I guide those who serve others to reclaim their energy and restore their connection to the sacred pulse of what it means to truly be alive. I know you're burned out. I know you're exhausted. I was there. I spent my entire 20s and 30s pushing through, checking the overachieving boxes, putting everyone else before myself. I was working out too much. I wasn't eating enough. I was mostly able to maintain this lifestyle until perimenopause. And man, my body protested wildly. I was diving headfirst into burnout, and it scared the hell out of me. I knew that if I was going to continue to have the vital energy necessary for me to keep showing up for my clients, some radical changes were in order. But I had no idea where to begin. I don't want the same thing to happen to you. I want to be the guide for those who are the givers, for those who prioritize themselves last in order to show up for everyone else. The healing work that therapists and healers do is so important, and I want all of you to be able to sustain your work to help others for as long as you want to keep going. And I also don't want y'all to be shooting in the dark like me, trying to figure out a roadmap to recovering from the trauma my body was holding because of being commodified by productivity culture. In our culture, rest is often framed as an escape, a way to numb out, turn off the brain from all the relentless demands of our daily life. Binge watching a series, drinking to unwind, or scrolling endlessly through social media all share a common thread. They focus on distraction rather than restoration. And there's nothing wrong with any of these practices. Sometimes zoning out can feel like the only accessible form of rest. I get it. But when we consistently rely on these patterns, they become symptomatic of a deeper disconnection. A disconnection from our bodies, our emotions, and our sense of inner aliveness. What if rest wasn't about zoning out, but about zoning in? What if it were about becoming more present with ourselves, more attuned to our needs, and more connected to our sense of vitality? This is a radical notion because it challenges the capitalistic idea that rest must be passive, fleeting, and deserved only after sufficient output. In reality, rest as engagement might look like mindful movement, deep breathing, slow and intentional stretching, or simply lying on the ground and feeling the earth support you. It might mean immersing ourselves in practices that heighten awareness, like being present in nature, rather than numbing out. This kind of rest requires courage because it demands that we confront what our bodies have been holding and what our minds have been avoiding. Capitalism not only tells us that productivity is the measure of our worth, but also that rest should be short, shallow, and transactional. Our bodies have been colonized by these norms, conditioned to only deserve rest when we've performed well enough. This paradigm keeps us fragmented, exhausted, and perpetually striving. When we engage in rest through disconnection, we unwittingly perpetuate the very cycles that deplete us. We are convinced that rest means stepping out of life for a moment rather than re-entering it in a slower, more deliberate way. Choosing to rest differently, to rest in a way that fosters deeper connection, is an act of resistance. It pushes against the narrative that our worth is defined by our output and that leisure is a commodity to be purchased. Rest is as resistance. It's about claiming our bodies from the narratives that have colonized them, learning to listen to our rhythms without guilt or justification. Here are some ideas about ways you can rest. Somatic attunement. Notice where your body feels tense or constricted and gently breathe into that space. Allow yourself to be curious rather than judgmental. There's relational rest. Instead of isolating yourself when tired, consider being with someone in a quiet, present way. Relational rest can be about sharing silence or supporting each other's needs without the pressure to perform. There's nature-based stillness. Spend time in a natural setting without an agenda. Let your body find its own pace and rhythm alongside the natural environment. And there's also intentional yielding. This means lying down and allowing the ground to hold your weight. Just feel the sensation of being supported without needing to do anything in return. There's also a practice called yoga nidra. It's also known as yogic sleep. It's a mindfulness practice that teaches how to harness the power of life force energy by rotating awareness throughout the body, inducing a brain state that allows for neuroplasticity and deep rest while we're still awake. Take a moment right now with me. Notice how you're sitting. Bring your awareness to your upper back. Is it tense? Are you taking in the support that's available behind you? If not, take a minute to let yourself relax into the support, the back of your chair, the couch cushion. Now just take a couple of deep breaths here. Feel your upper back expanding on the inhale and contracting on the exhale. Let's take a few breaths like this. Now inwardly say to yourself, it's okay to let go and receive support. Notice if after doing this, does your mind feel a bit calmer? Does your breath feel a bit deeper? You can do this throughout the day. It's such a simple way to remember to pause and give yourself permission to just take a little rest. You deserve it. Rest is not something to be earned through productivity. It's an inherent right. It's a form of bodily and spiritual maintenance that reconnects us with ourselves and each other. When we redefine rest as an engaged, intentional practice, we disrupt the capitalist framework that has convinced us otherwise. How might your relationship with rest shift if you saw it as a way of deepening your connection to yourself rather than disconnecting from your life? I'd love to hear your answer to that in the comments, if any of you would like to share. You also don't have to figure this out alone. You deserve support and you deserve rest, not because you earned it, but because it's every human's birthright. If this resonated, please like this and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting a Yoga Nidra meditation soon and you won't want to miss that. In the meantime, you might also want to check out my video on how to release trauma that's stuck in the body. And if you live in California and you're looking for support, check out my website. I have associates who are currently accepting new clients. And you can also sign up for my newsletter for updates about my upcoming workshop. I'll be teaching, it's called my Core Connection Approach. It's a somatic path to healing, rest, and reconnection. Sending you so much love. Remember, take a pause. Feel your back body. Breathe. Take in, you're not alone. support is available.